Okay, so this session will be recorded. We will have time for the Q&A at the end. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We will try to cover as many as we can. We are dropping a link in the chat. This is a short form. It will take less than 60 seconds. Find it out, fill it out to unlock your exclusive Cloudflare offer. We are giving 30% off for 3 months and 50% off for 3 months on the Cloudflare add-on if you bring 25 plus domains. We will keep this form open till 8th of May, but I would recommend to filling it now while you are here. Let's quickly talk about the problem. Like managed Cloudflare settings often means like switching between the platforms, waiting for changes to apply, or relying on the support for simple configuration. And when you are dealing with the traffic, campaigns or security events, this delay become a real issue. That's exactly what we are solving today. We will show you how you can control Cloudflare Enterprise feature directly from the Cloudflare platform, from the dashboard, faster, simple, and without breaking your workflow. So now I would like to bring in our expert for today, Anas Hashmi. Anas Hashmi is a part of our product team, and he has been closely involved in building and shaping this integration. He will walk you through the product, the use cases, and the live controls. So over to Anas.
Alright, thank you so much, Danis, for the introduction. Hey everyone, my name is Anas and I'm a Senior Product Manager at Cloudways. Today we are going to learn about how to take control of Cloudflare Enterprise on Cloudways, and we are gonna walk you guys, and we're gonna share some incredible insights with everyone here. So yeah. So what's the agenda of today's webinar? In today's webinar, obviously first we are going to walk you through on how customers can enable Cloudflare on Cloudways. Um, and we are going to discuss details around persona specific use cases. Then we are gonna share some of the Cloudflare Enterprises features that we already have in our integration today, and what new feature controls we have integrated with introduced in our Cloudflare add-on recently. We will share some of the pricing and benchmark results as well, and of course at the end we will try to kind of like cover all of our agenda as quickly as possible, so we can have some Q&A session with our audience. So moving on to the first step, like how customers can enable Cloudflare Enterprises on Cloudways. Enabling Cloudflare on Cloudways is kind of like really easy. Unlike our customers, especially agencies who are managing their client websites, a lot of time they used to kind of like reach into into hurdles, like where whenever they ask their clients to kind of like integrate Cloudflare with their on their website, a lot of customers were hesitant to share kind of like domain names or domain or access to their domain registrars, because they used to think that they were not comfortable with sharing their domain access with someone who is just going to manage the website, right? So but as compared to Cloudways integration, it's when customers are trying to integrate Cloudflare on Cloudways platform, customers do not have to change their name servers at all. All they have to do is just enable Cloudflare Enterprise on their application, and then point the domain to our SaaS zone, which is just simply as pointing an A record to the Cloudways server. And there are two options where customers can either point the domains to Cloudflare. Our Cloudflare integration is by either pointing an A records to our SaaS zone, which is basically something, a SaaS zone is basically a custom integration which Cloudways has done with Cloudflare to offer services to its customer. Or either you can point the domain to our SaaS zone using CNAME records. For the purpose of this demo, on enabling cloud.
Anas, we lost your voice. Can you quickly fix it? You can join with your laptop microphone.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
All right. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about that, folks. Yeah. So as I was explaining that in enabling Cloudflare on Cloudways is kind of like really simple. Instead of kind of like migrating the name servers to Cloudflare, when someone is integrating Cloudflare directly, all customers would have to do on Cloudways is point their A records or point their A records for their host name to Cloudflare zone, to Cloudways SaaS zone, or if they are not able to point their domain through A records, they can use CNAME. They can use CNAME, which gives them a bit more advantage around kind of like domain routing and prioritized routing through our SaaS zone. For the purpose of this demo, we are gonna share how customers can, in order to enable cloud, we are going to walk you guys through how you can enable Cloudflare on your account. So the very first thing that clients need to do, or you Cloudways users need to do, is log in into their Cloudways account. Once you are logged in into your Cloudways account, or you will land into your dashboard, and just select the website that you want to kind of like manage or enable Cloudflare on. Once you access that application from the application navigation or directly from the recently apps, you will see Cloudflare in the left navigation. You can just go into the Cloudflare section. You will see the option to enter your domain. For the purpose of this demo, we are using wpunlock.net, and as soon as we enter on enable, the configuration will be applied on our SaaS zone, so customers can just point their domain. So it just takes a minute. It just take less than 30 seconds on enabling on adding the domain. So let's just wait for that. One important thing to note here is that whenever someone adds their custom hostname in Cloudflare Enterprise, our system automatically detects either it's an Apex domain or either it's a subdomain. For example, in case of wpunlock.net, it's an Apex domain, so our system will automatically detect it and will add an alias subdomain, which is www.wpunlock.net. So customers won't have to kind of like again enable it for the subdomain. Once the domain is added, here we can see that the domain is not live. In order to get that domain activated, customers need to point the domain using A record or using CNAME records for their Apex and www subdomain to our SaaS zone. And for that, you just need to log in into your domain registrar. For the purpose of demo, our domain was registered at Namecheap. So we have just logged into Namecheap, and we had an existing A records to pointing to our servers, right? So you guys need to make sure that once you're pointing records to Cloudflare, you need to make sure that to delete any existing records for the custom host name. So here we have just gone ahead and delete the Apex domain and the www domain for a subdomain for our domain. And now what we have done is that we are pointing the Apex or /root domain to our SaaS zone. And here we can see that in Namecheap, it's very easy that instead of migrating the entire name servers to Cloudflare, what we are doing is that just simply pointing the Apex and we are just simply pointing the www subdomain to our SaaS zone. Secure.cloudways.cloud simply represents the SaaS zone that we have on Cloudflare. Now, and here we can see that once we point the domain, just copy the host name and click on save. Now, once you have added the A records, obviously it will take, depending upon your DNS registrar, it's gonna take at least 5 to 30 minutes. Most of the DNS registrar, like just similar to Namecheap, are able to kind of like propagate the domains in the next 5 to 30 minutes at max, right? But depending, in some of the cases we have seen, and depending upon the TTL configuration, we have seen that there might be domains that may take up to 24 hours in rare cases, but in majority of the cases it takes less than 5 minutes. And here we can see that once the domain is propagated, we just click on a hit refresh button and our domain is active, and then immediately we can start reviewing the details around overviews, settings. In the settings tab, we have a lot of feature controls. Some of them existed already in the past. Now we have some additional more settings, then which we are gonna walk you guys through in our demo. Moving on to the next item, I mean, we are going to discuss a few things around the persona specific use cases. This is one of the insights that we have from our customer base. I mean, in the current era where AI is kind of like evolving at a very rapid fast pace, and where AI is constantly kind of like crawling on your website to train the data, and we have seen that the SEO is kind of like, the traditional search engine is kind of like getting it's not being used anymore by the users on the web. Instead, what our customers are doing right now is that they are relying on co-pilots like ChatGPT, Claude, and to get their answers and for their research, right? So agencies are, so what we have seen is that that the speed of the website is way much crucial for agencies now, because their clients are now dependent not just on SEO but on AI search engines as well. And if you have a website that is slow, then it's not gonna be promptly visible when you are when you're using prompts in your AI search engines. So fast websites means that a fast website does not only mean that your clients are only means that it should be optimized for the search engines or for your visitors. It should be optimized for AI as well, because the faster the AI crawls your website, the more quickly it's gonna be the more quickly it's going to share the answers from your websites and along with the references to your websites to its users. So agencies are kind of like really focused right now to deliver faster websites better ever before, because of how the search engines are evolving, not just SEO search engines but the AI search engines as well. E-commerce websites, similarly with e-commerce websites where customers want to kind of like convert more customers with faster and more reliable storefronts. What we have seen is that having similar with AI, once AI kind of like refer the customer to your store, it needs your site, because it's know that in the even before the AI search a slow web that you are losing conversions, or if you are running an e-commerce stores, a customer won't and if the customer is adding something to cart and it's taking a longer time and he's not reaching the checkout in the next 5 seconds, he's going to leave your website. He's not going to wait for your website to load. So e-commerce and SMB owners are kind of like really focused with are really kind of like reaching the bar with more with the Cloudflare integrations and providing access, faster access to the global audience, not just limited to their local area. And SMBs, obviously similar to kind of like e-commerce, try to compete with enterprise level platforms without the enterprise performance tag. And that's what Cloudways has always been aiming for. I mean, instead of kind of like asking instead of in the old ways, what used to happen is that if someone needs the Cloudflare Enterprise directly, or let's just say a prioritized routing and networking with Cloudflare, or with or some features we all know kind of like Cloudflare offers is kind of like Argo Smart Routing. All of these features are really expensive, right? And if you are a small or a medium business side and you're trying to scale up your business and there was no way you can compete with an enterprise unless you are spending kind of like thousands of dollars. So, and that like Cloudways is helping all of its customer where they are now getting a Cloudflare an enterprise integration at a fraction of cost, because we went out with a vision with Cloudways for our customers, and we are delivering it. And similarly, once your site is kind of like getting indexed faster across the search engines and AI search engines, obviously in Google it's kind of like ranks higher. And as for the AI search engine goes, it depends upon the use case, and then it will refer customers to your website from the search engines. Moving on towards the features, we have a Cloudways have been kind of like working on improving and introducing a lot of features. We are as compared to kind of like when you go directly with Cloudflare on a free plan, you do not get access to kind of like all POPs. There are some POPs that are limited for paid plans or enterprise. So with Cloudflare Enterprise integration, we are getting access to all 330 global CDN POPs. And then we have HPage caching that serves instead of kind of like caching the entire dynamic HTML pages, HTML pages across these. And where, so if someone is kind of like visiting your website, instead of having those assets being loaded from the from origin, it's gonna be served directly from the edge, providing them a much more faster response. Argo Smart Routing is something that's available on enterprise. It's kind of like works within the internal hopping layers of Cloudflare, where where Cloudways SaaS customers get much more prioritized routing on. And then we also get Argo Smart Routing, which kind of like reduce the latency of requests from any of the Cloudflare global CDN POPs to kind of to the origin, which is Cloudways servers. And then we have some of the performance features like early support and Argo tiered caching, which further helps in kind of like speeding up the website. And few of the features which we kind of like introduce were around kind of like analytics, cache analytics or firewall analytics. We have what we have seen is that customers who are kind of like really persistent about their site performance, they utilize cache analytics from our dashboard to kind of like make sure that their sites are being served from the cache, or all the aspects of the CDN caching is working perfectly fine across their web. As for the secure unmetered DDoS protection, Cloudways we are not just protecting customers from layer 3 and 4, but also layer 7 without any extra charges or limit. Although if you refer to Cloudflare free plan, it does not block layer 7 attacks automatically. It's a manual step where customers will have to go in and kind of like enable under attack mode on their website, and then the attacks will be blocked. As compared to Cloudways, we have unmetered enterprise DDoS protection, which is not available on direct plan. We have web application firewall, and then we have managed bot management for enterprises. So since it's a managed service on Cloudways, automatically handles a lot or filter a lot of bot or spam or vulnerability scanner traffic from reaching towards customers' application and block it on the edge, and they don't even reach the server high CPU on your server. Then we have certain global rate limiting sets across our customers application, which is limited to kind of like limited to visitors, which is limited to bot traffic, not visitors. Basically, in certain cases we have seen that customers would run customers or competitors will run some kind of like audits on your website through some local tools, which will just immediately cause high number of requests on your website, because they are trying to see how they are trying to search keywords or anything. In summary, they are trying to run scanners on your website to see how you're performing as compared to them, and which sometimes lead to causing your site to be down or your server to be under high pressure. We have certain configurations in place which avoid some similar scenarios. And then we have PCI DSS compliance, which customers can easily integrate to kind of like pass the PCI DSS compliance around SSL ciphers and other stuff, which on the other case is kind of like sometimes may lead to kind of like a big delay. And a lot of other more optimizations, but I'm not gonna kind of like I walk through them. Some of them are image optimization, content compression. These are some of the basic things that our cloud are offering to our customers as well. Recent introduced was around blocking. When AI was in the early stages of its development, we had seen that a lot of AI providers were kind of like crawling customers' application, their websites to be down, right? And kind of like we blocking AI by default, and many of our customers, and we started crawlers by default. But over the last 6 to search engine evolved the search evolved, which no one expected. Now instead of going on, customers are going into AI and get their results from them. And if your site is not visible on AI crawling, then you won't get customers or traffic from the search engine, AI search engines, right? So there were kind of like a mixed reaction from our audience. Some customers are requesting that AI crawler blocking should be blocked on their websites, and some are asking that it should be enabled so that they kind of like allows this. It should be enabled so that they have their visit, so that the users have visibility of search engines. We have introduced this as a feature on Cloudways recently, and which cover our demo as well. Then we have a lot of other features like Scrap Shield, Cloudflare Turnstile, which is automatically integrated into our security WAF. And then we have purge cache, auto, which is what we are basically referring to, which customers usually refer to as auto purge or smart purge cache. Whereas, let's just say if you update a content on your website, then the cache on the Cloudflare is made a purge for that particular page only, so that the new content is visible to the user in the very next moment. Now, in Q1 2026, we did a lot of survey with our customers, and we asked our customers like what other more controls our customers need, right? We already had some of the controls around feature controls like enabling or disabling of caching, edge page caching, and scrape shields on our platform. But we went ahead and kind of like compile all of the data in the last 2 years and in the last year, and had some of the as well, where we asked them what more features they are looking for. So when the users described the problem to us, we found out that these are the following 5 features are something that are needed for our customers. So the very first was the web application firewall. We had seen numerous cases where customers running custom PHP workload needed the option to disable web application firewall, right? Although it may sound kind of like a bit weird, where they want to kind of like disable web application firewall, but users demanded that we should have that option available on our platform, just something similar like how they have this on their own Cloudflare account. Similarly, with the rate limiting option that we described earlier, users wanted to have access on that, along with browser integrity as well. Browser integrity is a feature which blocks kind of like legacy devices connection across your application, across your website or application. It's an older feature from Cloudflare, but it's kind of like really efficient in blocking kind of like automated attacks where some certain older devices are being easily hacked, and then they are kind of like compromised, and then they are used to kind of like generate attacks across the other applications on the web. Then one of the most common requested features was around the AI crawler blocking, something we just covered recently, where customers were asking that they want to block AI crawlers on their website, and some customers were referring they don't want to block AI on their website. And then the last feature was around kind of like PCI DSS, which was around SSL cipher mode. Also, although Cloudflare takes security Cloudflare and Cloudways both take security very seriously, but a certain issue in some certain compliance scans were that there were some weak ciphers enabled by default on Cloudflare level, and customers were asking that there should be an option available on UI so we can disable those ciphers on Cloudways by default. So we introduced that option. So Right now on Cloudways, we have two SSL cipher modes. Well, the first one is the older one. With the first one is compatible, which includes weak ciphers, it all obviously allows some older browsers to connect on your web application. Then we have then the other we have is a PCA, PSI, DSS or strict mode, which kind of like disables all of the weak, which is a demand, or you could say a requirement for passing PSI DSS scans on certain sites whenever, or applications that are kind of like compliance that need compliance, 100% compliance on their application. All right, so I have already kind of like explained all of these. So since we have a limited time and we need to we need to move on, cover the demo along with the Q&A. So I'm just gonna skip explaining all of these features which I have done already. So yeah. Some of the best insights from benchmarking results is that, I mean, and some of the benefits that we want to show to our customers is that having your content cached on edge is one of the most is one of the most amazing things we have seen customers doing it. I mean we have seen customers ranking, getting higher in ranking in few weeks, in a span of few weeks, as soon as their site is faster. So here's some of the benchmarking results where we have where we kind of like launch a website, not a dummy website, but with some of the content, and we kind of like did a benchmarking with and without Cloudflare. What we have seen is that on an average basis, within Google Page Speed Insights, the site was performing on an average of 25% faster in the various aspects. For example, visual loading, LCP and FCP were observed 28% faster. Time to first byte was cut down by heavily and were seen to have a 23% faster website. Page layout and speed index were seen kind of like 69 and 30% faster respectively, and the response time, which is kind of like which we kind of like do under stress load dynamic websites, was seen 85% 84% faster. So here is one of the website where we can see that before Cloudflare, although it's an optimized website, and since Cloudways already offer a lot of optimization and caching features like Breeze cache plugin, Varnish as a page caching service, Object Cache Flow, the site was kind of like returning a really good page load time, but with the help of Cloudflare Enterprise, we see that it was much of the caching load time, much of the page load time was cut even much more, was reduced cut in half when we integrated Cloudflare Enterprise. And here we can see that as compared to before, where the TTFB was kind of like 202 milliseconds, it's now 107 milliseconds, right? Which is almost a great jump as compared to having a site without Cloudflare. As for the pricing, we know we have a lot of we have a lot of customers who are agencies or SMBs, and then there are some customers who are SMBs. So customers who have especially so we have a kind of like a really good pricing for agencies, which is kind of like which is very beneficial to agencies, but for SMBs as well, because at certain times SMBs have multiple domains associated with their application. For example, someone may have a website like example.com, and then they have a UK version called example.com.uk. So we have considering all of the scenarios in mind, we have introduced we have a tier-based pricing across our platform. So the price starts with $4.99 with customer. So if as a customer you integrate less than 5 domains, the cost will be around $4.99 per month. And if if you are an agency and have, let's just say, more than 25 domains or more, the cost is reduced to kind of the cost is automatically reduced to $1.99 per domain per month. So let's just say if you have 25 domains, you will be paying only $50 a month for 25 domains, which is a huge saving. And as compared to kind of like, if you had a kind of like gone to Cloudflare directly, or even considered kind of like start subscribing to Pro plan directly, it would cost kind of like $25 a month per domain, right? Which is so on Cloudways, on Cloudways, customers get not just huge saving but much more benefit as compared to going directly on to Cloudflare. Some of the upcoming features we have, we covered some of the features that we have already released, and some of the features which we are going to release in the upcoming few weeks is around cache analytics and firewall analytics. For those who are already using Cloudflare, or some of you who may have not known, at the moment we do have cache analytics and firewall analytics on our platform at the moment, but the observability is limited to kind of like up to 72 hours. That is 3 days. So we are currently working on our new. We have recently implemented a new infra and logging infrastructure, which would allow us to kind of like show these analytics for up to 30 days. So customers customers would now, once it's released, customer would not just be able to see the last 30 days. 30 days of last 3 days of data, but they will be able to see up to 30 days of data around the cache, within their cache analytics dashboard as well as firewall analytics dashboard. All right. Before we move on to the question, I'm just gonna move on towards the demo, and to kind of like to give a screen of the Cloudflare's dashboard. Just a second. All right. I hope that my screen is visible to
Yes.
visible to everyone. So for us to just, sorry, I had a lot. Okay. All right. So here, what I'm gonna do is just simply gonna move towards my website that already has Cloudflare Enterprise. This is just a dummy website for the purpose of this demo. And here we can see that within the Cloudflare dashboard, it's already integrated in live, and we have kind of and as for this month, I have already consumed 54 GB of bandwidth. With this, so the main thing that we want to kind of like cover was the settings tab, and here we can see that we provide a lot of options to our customers, which they can just simply manage across their Cloudways dashboard. And some of the new features. So we have kind of like early hints, image optimization. Within image optimization, Cloudflare offers two modes. One is the lossless mode, and the other one is lossy mode. There are some certain customers who do not wish to kind of like optimize their images through Cloudflare. They have certain image optimization plugins. So if you have certain requirements like that, you can just go ahead and turn off the image optimization. But it's much more preferred to have optimization on the edge on Cloudflare, because once you do optimization on Cloudflare level, you won't have to kind of like use any of your server resources, which could be consumed in serving your customer the content, instead of kind of like optimizing the images. Then we have Scrap Shield. Scrap Shield is an option which is enabled by default. Basically, sometimes customers have their email address mentioned on their websites or at contact form page. At certain points, what we have seen happening is that in across majority of the customers is that when this option is not enabled or protection is not in place for their app or for the application through Scrap Shield, usually a crawler will just simply crawl the content of their website, will scrap the email, and will pass it on to will be used by someone who will, and these such emails are usually used by the data hunters, which they later which is later used in purchased, or you could say that purchase list, where someone is looking to do some cold emails, will purchase a list and your email will be there, so you start getting a lot of spam on this. So Scrap Shield avoids that, where someone, let's just say if a visitor is or a bot is simply visiting your website, that particular email on your website will be obfuscated or encrypted and won't be visible as a plain text to that bot. Then we have offer caching. Caching is enabled by caching is obviously one of the caching is enabled by default. And if you note here, we have caching and then we have H-page caching for WordPress and WooCommerce. By default, the caching which is enabled cache the static content, which is limited to images, CSS and JavaScript files, or fonts file, and these are offered by default. But there are users who want to serve the dynamic HTML pages from the edge as well. So for that we offer H-page caching. So once this option is enabled, not just the static content but the dynamic content like the HTML pages will be cached across the edge as well. Then we have SSL cipher mode. Just like I mentioned, that compatible is the default mode because it supports a wider range of algorithm to ensure that customers from the older devices are able to connect on your website. But as compared to the modern, it uses the connections are limited to strong ciphers only. So there is a chance that if someone has a really old device, like let's say 5-year-old or 6-year-olds, which is reliant on the old ciphers, won't be able to have access to your website. So before someone switches to modern, they need to be really sure that they are not losing any visitors, although the chances of happening is really low. Then we have security features which we introduced recently was around web application firewall, rate limiting, browser integrity check, and AI crawling. So web application firewall, rate limiting, and browser integrity, these of the security features are enabled by default. If let's just say for any certain reasons one want to disable it, they can go ahead and just simply disable it. We do have introduced the under attack mode, but this is different from the under attack mode that is offered by Cloudflare. This is, you could say, a customized version of or you could say a much more much more non-aggressive under attack mode, where what will happen. So once you enable this option, every request on your application will be challenged. But as compared to Cloudflare, where it starts blocking the Google bot or search engine bots as well, it won't block. This option won't block any of the verified bots. So let's just say you have Bing bot for search engine, Google bot, or let's just say there are lots of verified bots like let's just say payment gateways or some of the other stuff won't be blocked by default, and they will be still able to crawl your websites, while all the other non-verified bot traffic would be challenged by would be challenged by Cloudflare. And the challenge that is offered to its customer is something powered by Cloudflare turnstile technology, which is already incorporated into our Cloudflare offering as well. The last option is AI or crawler blocking. Just like we explained earlier, that there is a a mixed narrative around AI crawler blocking. Some customers wants to wants AI crawlers to crawl their website there, so that let's just say if a user is asking something within the AI search engines, the AI search engine is able to recommend your site for it, right? We have seen this commonly with Google search engines, where they are now offering AI results, but it includes references to your website as well. And what we have seen is that a lot of customers once after reading the summary from the Google search engine, they kind of like look at those references and kind of like go to those websites to make sure to kind of like get much more detail around the topic that they are looking for. So AI, considering how the search engines have evolved over the past year, we have set this option disabled by default. So remember, if you are enabling Cloudflare Enterprise add-on on your website and you want AI crawlers to be blocked, you would have to specifically go into the settings tab and enable the AI crawler blocking and click on save changes. And like I mentioned, like I mentioned that, sorry, just a second. Like I mentioned, we have the analytics tab and the security tab to kind of like review the details around the caching analytics. So at the moment, this is kind of like currently limited to 72 hours, but we are hopefully planning to release the version where client would be able to see not just the last 3 days of events, but would be able to see up to 30 days of observability associated with their Cloudflare add-on. The similar improvement goes for security events, and here we can see that how many attacks are being blocked by Cloudflare alone in the last 12 hours. And if I stretch this graph up to 72 hours, we can see that in the last 3 days, the Cloudflare WAF, DDoS, and other categories kind of like blocked. There were approximately around 2,600 attacks, approximately 2,665 attacks were blocked. So this is all from my side. I hope you guys have enjoyed the demo and webinar. Danish, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anas, for the insightful session. Before we move to the Q&A session, I would like to remind everyone, I just shared the form with you, so you can submit the entry and you can get the exclusive discount only for this webinar attendees. So it will take hardly 30 seconds to fill out the form. So our team will outreach you for the discount. So let's move on to the Q&A session. So the first question is from Sitara Anjum. She's saying, we have previously tried to enable Cloudflare add-on, but quit due to the lack of toolbar menu that are available in the Cloudflare directly. Hope you have added more flexibility to access more settings that are required by individual business as per their needs. So Sitara, the features that we recently launched, if these are the ones which are helping you, please let us know. And if there are other options that you want in Cloudflare, please let us know as well, so we can share with the product team. Question from Alex Wap. Does the enterprise add-on offer edge page caching for non-WordPress applications? For example, custom PHP application, Laravel application?
At the moment, the Cloudflare Enterprise add-on do not offer the edge page caching for non-WordPress application, but it's something that we have worked on, and it's just that there are some kind of like certain use cases which we are not unable to cover with our enterprise SaaS integration we have. Obviously, it's a bit different when it covers to going to Cloudflare directly, but we are working with Cloudflare team and have raised this with them. But we currently do not have any ETA by when the edge page caching for enterprise will be available for non-WordPress application.
Okay. Question for Holmes. You are rightfully mentioned that change in the AI and how they are affecting websites and speed etc. Have noticed that some bots are aggressively visiting websites, including traffic and the bandwidth, resulting in slow websites and exaggerated invoice charge. What are you doing to protect clients against this issue?
So yeah, so Holmes, you are perfectly right. So for this particular issue, we released the AI crawler blocking, right? So the AI crawler blocking is not just something that would kind of like block the AI crawler bots, right? It's kind of like the Cloudflare engine is constantly optimizing itself. What we have seen is that there is a possibility that some certain agent or user agent that is not publicly listed as an AI crawler, is kind of like silently crawling all of the websites on the internet, Cloudflare catches it. Cloudflare catches such behavior automatically and put them under the same observation, kind of like, and start blocking those traffic once it's identified that it's an AI crawling bot. And not just, and so it's a landscape which is kind of like constantly evolving, and we are trying to keep ourselves up to date with it, and blocking all of the AI crawling, which kind of like results in kind of like high bandwidth usage. And aside from this, not just with Cloudflare Enterprise, everyone know that Cloudways servers have a firewall integration as well. We are constantly working with our Cloudways firewall vendor as well, where we are constantly kind of like looking at patterns. They have their own RBL and all such systems where they are kind of like detecting these crawlers and bots automatically and blocking them by default as well. And this is something kind of like should be easily visible to every other user who is either using Cloudflare or not. You can just simply go to the server management screen, and under your server security you can see overview tab, which will provide you a whole statistics around splash screen, bot events, and WAF events. And you can see the splash screen events specifically kind of like represents the bot traffic that is blocking on your entire Cloudways server without any cost. And all of the attacks that are blocked either on the origin or either by Cloudflare directly are not counted against your bandwidth usage. We exclude all of the traffic blocked by either the Cloudflare firewall or by Cloudways internal server firewall are excluded from the bandwidth usage.
Great. Another question is Cloudflare, Redis cache, Varnish, and Breeze. Is there any issue? Have it all enabled? How are all those cache layers sync?
So on Cloudways we have kind of like tightly integrated everything, but we have every other use case handle at the moment to avoid any conflicts. For example, Breeze is a WordPress cache plugin. It's having it enabled by default. It optimizes the content of your website. Breeze works flawlessly with Varnish and Cloudflare both. Redis is an object caching plugin. So we have customers who are kind of like constantly who are using all four features by default. One of the conflict that we had when we had rolled out Cloudflare edge page caching was around kind of like when someone was enabling edge page caching on WordPress, they had edge page caching enabled on Cloudflare, and then they have page caching enabled on Cloudflare as well as on the origin via Varnish, right? Which was causing some conflict because customers were caching content on edge and origin both. So we kind of like work on this way during our POC and private preview period, which we used to call at that time private beta. We work on that and work with our customers and developed a way with Cloudflare team, and we kind of like developed a way that if someone's kind of like enable edge page caching on Cloudflare via Cloudways, then the Varnish page caching is kind of like turned on to avoid conflicts, so that to avoid purge conflicts. And to avoid serving stale content. So we have already handled all of these scenarios. So having Cloudflare, Varnish, Breeze, and Object Cache, if you have all of those four cache layers enabled by default, it won't cause any conflict. Just you have to make sure that for Cloudflare, you just have to make sure that once you have Breeze enabled, just make sure to click on, although once you enable Cloudflare, we make sure that to apply the smart auto purge caching configuration automatically. But in some cases, if you believe that your auto purge is not working correctly, just go into the overview tab and click on reconfigure for the smart purge caching, and it will resolve the issue. It will reset the configuration automatically. In case if someone still have issues, they can reach out to our support team via live chat or open a support ticket.
Perfect. So, Leandro is asking like these Cloudflare features will be available for the app on the autonomous service?
Yeah, so at the moment, the autonomous feature control is limited to under attack mode only, but we are currently working on releasing this feature set across autonomous as well. We are going to in the next few weeks. I believe by the end, as far as I recall, by the end of May, these Cloudflare features will be available on autonomous platform as well.
Okay, we have some more questions. So Kate is asking like, can you describe the feature differences between using Cloudflare Enterprise versus existing customers of Cloudflare as domain registrar under the Cloudflare free or pro plan?
Yeah, sure. Although there is also we have already covered this in our blog post. We will send it out and we will try our best to send out a slide deck that contains much more of the information. One of the major difference that customers have when subscribing to our Cloudflare integration as compared to going directly with Cloudflare free or pro plan is that the enterprise DDoS protection. We have enterprise DDoS protection. We have prioritized routing. Prioritized routing is a feature where let's just say Cloudflare serves kind of like millions of websites of data through their edge, right? They have customers on free plan, they have customers on pro plan, they have customers on business plans, and they have customers on enterprise plan. Whenever the traffic reach to their infrastructure for let's just say for a free customer, it's kind of like let's just say it puts in a queue, right? But once let's just say and it's offered when its turn come up, right? But with Cloudflare Enterprise, what happens with our integration, what happens is that whenever your website traffic comes to kind of like Cloudflare Edge, your traffic is prioritized in serving and in reaching the origin. So it's kind of like not blocked in queue. It's kind of like pushed. It bypassed that queue which is available to kind of like free, pro, and business plan, and your traffic is served much more faster. Then we have enterprise web application firewall and enterprise bot management feature. Enterprise bot management feature is a managed service which a Cloudways team is handling automatically behind the scene, and we use it to kind of like block millions of attacks per day on our customers. This service is not available even on business plan. It's available on enterprise plan directly on Cloudflare, and this service is charged on per usage basis, which Cloudways is handling, which Cloudways is kind of like today is kind of like managing on its own and do not pass these charges to its customer. We bear the cost for it. So this is another one of the greatest feature. Then we have kind of like web application firewall, and we have certain rules kind of like where we have integrated avoiding a fake Google bot or MSN bot crawling on your website, which is something I believe it's not available on Pro plan. Basically, this features kind of like allows you to block fake Google bots. Basically, what we have seen is that a lot of time there are crawls happening on the customer's website, and we are seeing Google as a Google user as an agent in the user agent field. But once we look at the IP address, it does not belong to Google. It belongs to some other host which has no connection to Google. So in certain cases, what we have found out that there are some certain scrappers or we could say that content scrappers that impersonate as Google user agent and try to access your website. So and although you may think that it's a Google visiting your website and may cause you to lose indexing on search engines, but it's not. In actual, it just blocks the malicious traffic on your website. And so there are and one of the and the last one is obvious, and few of the other features are around kind of like are around security, which are managed security layers, which are available to enterprise. I do not have the specific details, but those are minor details. But the major ones are around kind of like enterprise bot management, enterprise DDoS mitigation, prioritized routing, and obviously I forgot to mention one thing, that we Cloudways even have enabled Cloudflare Argo Smart Routing, which is also something is charged on pay-as-you-go basis on Cloudflare. But on Cloudways, we do not. We have this integrated into our regular bandwidth cost, and and if someone is kind of like subscribing to Argo Smart Routing directly on Cloudflare, the cost would be much more higher on per GB basis as compared to kind of like subscribing on Cloudways. All right. Yeah.
I think we are on time and we covered all the questions. The last question is from Siddhara, and she is asking where do we contact the production team directly for missing features, accessibility through Cloudways dashboard? So Anas, do we have any mechanism for that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat? I'm sorry.
Is there any way she can submit the request to the product team for the missing features?
Yeah, obviously, definitely. I mean, we are constantly looking for features. One of the platform that we use is kind of like it's our feedback.cloudways.com, or you can either drop your feedback on feedback.cloudways.com, or you can just simply send an email to our success team at success@cloudways.com, and it will be kind of like each and every feedback is forwarded to our product team.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anas, for the Q&A session and for the demo. That's it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will share the recording. We shared the form with you, so it will be logged by 8th of May. So you can fill it out, and our team will reach out to you all. Have a nice day, and we will see you in the next session.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.